Hey guys, Marstingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so I did mention in the previous stream and a couple of the videos that I've been away for the weekend for Halloween. Just got back and I wanted to do a bit of a recap summary on the news that came out earlier today on the JP side, which is of course the EZA information for the two Super Saiyan Bardocks, the Super Saiyan 2 Bardock and Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. I say the two Super Saiyan Bardocks because of course there is a third one, the INT one, which is a World Tournament reward card. So who knows when they're eventually going to start doing the EZAs for those, but obviously that one is not coming along with these ones. And as you can tell by the title, we're going to leave the best one till last, but I've already seen a lot of downplay for these guys, except for the physical one. I think everyone seems to have unanimously accepted the physical one on release as being good, which is makes a nice change, because I tweet about it all the time. Every time a new unit gets announced or a new EZA gets announced, people underrate them just based by what they see on the page, and then the showcases come out and we see some pretty good turns. I've seen a couple of screenshots from the like private server showcases, but I haven't watched them properly. I just wanted to give my initial thoughts on these, and then obviously some of the stuff that I've seen. So the TEQ one, this one was always going to be kind of interesting because he is an orb changer. So he raises attack and defense for one turn, does supreme damage and seals super attacks. He changes STR orbs to TEQ. Then he gets 130 to attack and 180 to defense at the start of the turn. And then, of course, he gets 30% attack and defense per TEQ orb obtained, which, you know, he creates them. Now, a lot of people underestimate some of these units, nuking style units, until you think about how much 30% is. Like 30% is the equivalent of having a support unit on the rotation, but you can get that multiple times by picking up the orbs. It's why even units like Bardock from the fusions, right? He's not like, no one considers him to be like a crazy top tier TUR, but he has a very high multiplier per orb obtained as well. So in like the Rainbow level 10 link showcase, we were able to get like 9-10 million attack stats with him. So 30% per orb is quite a lot. And when you think that this guy is not so much a support unit compared to the other one, he's kind of like a standalone. Like, he doesn't support the rotation, but orb changing is still obviously very useful. Back in the day, you used to run him alongside the Prime Battle LR Goku, so you could make a ton of TEQ orbs for him. So obviously on a team with other strong TEQ LRs, that ability is going to be very useful. Like floating on teams with units like Birdku, LR Gohan and Goku, having a TEQ orb changer on the team that can hold their own even as a floater is obviously going to be very good, because post defense, post super, his defense will be pretty good. And if you have to give the TEQ orbs to somebody else, he gets 18% attack and defense per non-TEQ orb. So you can still get up to reasonable amounts of damage and defense after supering. So he also has a medium chance to launch an additional super if you pick up 3 or more orbs, which again, considering he's an orb changer, shouldn't be too difficult. And then he gets an additional 50% attack and gets a guaranteed crit if you pick up 8 orbs. So 8 is quite a lot, even for an orb changer, unless you are using him as a main rotation unit. Like if you have him floating, he's creating a ton of orbs, potentially that you're using for other units on the team. But obviously when you have a big orb changer in slot 1, we've seen that recently with showcases of like the Trunks and Gyro and stuff like that. If you're floating them in the 3rd spot, a lot of the times you've given away large clusters of orbs to the main rotation units. So it is good that he's able to pick up any type of orbs to get a buff. But you're probably not going to get the 8 or more one consistently every turn, unless you get really lucky with how the orbs change. But other than that, he looks pretty solid. I don't think he's going to have as much use as the physical one. But obviously, Powerful Comeback is a team that has a lot of these TEQ units that really needed some more supports. Storied figures, obviously getting more buffs is good. So he's a very solid unit overall. And then the physical one, this is the one I've been looking forward to the most. This guy was one of my first SSRs. He was the first unit I used as a leader back when he didn't even have a TUR Awakening and it was just all types key +2. Very much been looking forward, because a lot of the teams, as I was just saying at the end of the TEQ Bardock, a lot of these teams, Powerful Comeback, Storied Figures, Legendary Existence, Revenge, Exploding Rage, some of these teams desperately needed some upgrades and like better support units, as in like your off-rotation floating supports, right? So physical Super Saiyan Bardock greatly raises defense for 1 turn on super attack, does supreme damage and seals super, so greatly raises 50%. Obviously that's very good. And then when we look at his passive, he gets defense 318%, so that's a pretty significant amount. Then he gets 180 to attack when performing a super. He gives all allies ki +2 and attack and defense 30%. So obviously he gets that as well, so even more defense. He guards all attacks within the same turn after receiving an attack. So he has to get hit once, and then guard activates for the rest of the turn. And then he gets an additional defense 30% within the same turn that guard is activated. So not only is he guarding after that first hit, he's then getting even more defense. So he does fall into that category of units where obviously if the first attack you take is a super, he is potentially going to take a lot of damage, and in some of the harder stages maybe even get one shot, like by red zone bosses or something. But as soon as he gets hit with one normal attack, and that guard activates and he gets more defense, he's then much more likely to survive some of those tougher bosses' super attacks, especially if he has super attacked first, because he is greatly raising. So back in the day with these guys not having much of a super attack effect, and they sealed, which wasn't chance based like stunning, I think both him and the TEQ one I gave more crit than additional. Although I would say they're definitely better to be full additional builds now. Because especially this guy, if you get an additional super, his defense is going to be pretty damn high. And for a unit that a lot of teams you're just going to be running him as a third slot floating unit, he's potentially not going to have to take that many attacks anyway. And then, of course, when he does, he's able to hold his own defensively pretty well. So I'm very happy with this guy. The only minor complaint, I don't see the point of easying a unit now that we're deep into like the 200% meta, where even some 150 teams feel weak against the hardest events. I don't see why they keep awakening these all types leaders to having such a low leader skill. Like, he could easily have been all types 120 and it wouldn't be, you know, most people still wouldn't be using him as a leader. But if you have to for certain events, link leveling, whatever, like, it would be nice. But yeah, other than, you're never really going to use him as a leader, so it's not that important. Then we have Super Saiyan 2 Bardock. So people, I've seen some mixed reactions to this guy. Obviously, he's the only named Super Saiyan 2 Bardock. So if you are building a team around a lot of these units, then obviously he is always going to have a free slot. He doesn't have any competition. So he also has an all-type leader skill for 80%. His super attack is that he raises attack for 6 turns, causes supreme damage, and has a high chance to stun. So stun chance obviously useful for Super Battle Road, first phase against like Broly and Omega, stuff like that. His passive 3 key and attack and defense 180%. He gets an additional 50% defense with each super attack performed up to 180. So he needs to do 4 super attacks in order to be fully maxed out. He launches an additional attack that has a medium chance to become a super. Oh, so that's just built in. And then launches another additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super when there's another Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3 ally attacking in the same turn. So that's interesting because it also gives all allies 30% attack. So he was one of the units that, again, I was looking forward to, because the Super Saiyan 2 team is another team that could do with some really good third slot floating support units. So the fact that his passive activates when he's surrounded by other Super Saiyan 2s or Super Saiyan 3s, because teams like Storied Figures, again, Revenge, like any teams where you can run these guys and the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, then obviously things like this in his passive just makes that work even better. So that's definitely very good. And he's still providing all allies with an attack buff, so pretty decent. I've seen some people underestimating his defense a little bit. Like, obviously he gets 50% with each super attack performed, but as long as you have a Super Saiyan 2 or 3 ally, your best RNG turn, where you then also get the additional from the hidden potential, he could actually super attack 4 times in one turn. Because he has his first super, you have the medium chance for the just built-in one, and then you have another one that has a high chance with the Super Saiyan 2 or 3 ally, and then you have the hidden potential. So in his best case scenario, he builds up his entire passive on one turn. But most likely, because he only needs to attack 4 times, you're going to get 1 additional out of the potential 4. So I would imagine by the end of his second appearance, he's going to be fully built up most of the time. And then he's raising attack for 6 turns. So his attack stat, again, he's going to reach the peak fairly quickly and be able to do some pretty solid damage. So considering, again, he's a third slot floating support unit, it's always nice when those units are also super, super good defensively. But as long as they're competent defensively, I think it makes them worth running for all of the extra firepower that they bring to the team. Because the attack buff for all allies is unconditional. It's not super types. It's not like a certain category. So very useful. And he'll be able to dish out some decent damage as well. So pretty happy with him overall. And then we get on to the main event. So Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. If you've been following the channel for any sort of time, you know that we love this guy. Very much been waiting for him to get an easy A so that the Super Saiyan 3 team could maybe have a bit of a comeback when we get the Xeno Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA with Heroes. That's going to be a huge buff to the team. And then, of course, LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku is going to get his EZA at some point. So I've very much been looking forward to this guy actually getting a good EZA. And I think he is good from what I've seen. So, again, a lot of people sort of underplaying or underrating, downplaying him. But with the calcs, like, he seems like another unit that is similar to, like, Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku or AGL Metal Cooler, where they're providing quite a lot in terms of attack, power, links, support, and they're solid defensively. They're just not, like, insanely good defensively. So, when we look at what he does, he raises defense for 1 turn. Does immense damage and seals. So I'm glad that was the one thing I really wanted them to see, because I think he was one of the only units that had a chance to seal on Super, and there's literally no point that being a thing in the current meta. So since so many events you can't even do it anyway, so that fact that it's guaranteed sealed is good. And then, yeah, he raises defense for 1 turn. So it's just a normal defense raise just for 1 turn. Obviously, additionals are going to be very good for him. So he gets key 3 attack and defense 100%. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 100% when performing a super. He gives super class allies 50% attack. And then he launches an additional super attack when there is a power beyond Super Saiyan category ally attacking in the same turn. So I think this is very good. He was never a slot 1 unit to begin with. He always had, like, the fact that he was getting most of his defense on Super, which of course now he's getting like a decent chunk from his passive, and he has the defense raise effect on super attack, and then the fact that he has a guaranteed additional super attack, so that's a second raise defense for the turn. And power beyond Super Saiyan is obviously any Super Saiyan 2, 3, 4, God, Blue, etc. So a lot of the teams you're going to be running him on, or I would say almost every team you're going to be running him on, he's going to have one of those allies on the same turn with him. And so, of course, not only is he raising defense again, he's also doing a decent amount of damage. I've seen screenshots of him doing like 9 million attack stats. And then, of course, because he's getting that guaranteed second attack, it makes it more likely that you're going to proc the hidden potential one as well. So I would go full additional on him as well. And then, yeah, because remember, the thing that makes him so good is even if he's only able to hold his own defensively in most events, right? I saw some people saying that against, like, you know, Metal Cooler Core, who's physical, he won't be tanking normal attacks for double digits. And obviously, most of the hardest red zone bosses can one-shot him with a super attack. Maybe on the turn where you get a triple super and there's defense support, maybe he would survive. But he's one of those units, again, that I mentioned at the start, to sort of give you the idea in mind as we went through the details. TEQ Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, AGL Metal Cooler, they provide solid damage to the team, they link up well, they perform very well, and their defense is solid, but they are units that will get one shot by a super from, like, Metal Cooler Core, for example. And I feel like people still use that as too high of a benchmark. Like, if I'm bringing this unit onto the team, one of the main reasons why you're going to bring him is he's got 50% attack to all allies, which is a ridiculous amount. We saw screenshots when STR Cooler got his EZA, just how much that support that he gives crazily increased the power of STR LR Cooler. So having an unconditional, because I mean, STR Cooler, he's only supporting Transformation Boost or Terrifying Conquerors when there's 2 or more enemies. This Bardock is giving 50% attack support to all allies unconditionally. So you can throw him on any team that he fits on, and as a unit floating in slot 3, he's going to be providing your main rotation with an extra 50% attack. And then, of course, if your team has a Beyond Super Saiyan character, which is a huge range of characters, he's getting an additional super and then more likelihood of getting that third super, which means he is going to be able to hold his own defensively in slot 3 as a support unit, as we said, outside of the hardest hitting attacks in the game, which still kill a large majority of units in the game. If an EZA is going to be doing a lot of damage themselves, providing good, like, support to the team, like, that's their role on the team. I'm not upset if they don't live like Metal Cooler Core's super attack. So I think personally this guy looks really good. From the screenshots and stuff that I've seen, he's very solid damage wise. His defense gets up to a decent amount. So personally, I'm very excited for him. Obviously, every time a new Bardock comes out, I try and revisit the all Bardock team video that I've been doing for years now. We're going to get the Awakening for Super Saiyan 4 Bardock in November. So obviously as a global player, it's a bit of a shame that I have to wait a while for these guys. But I'm definitely very excited for the Bardock celebration to come to global. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What was your initial reaction to the details? Have you changed your opinion slightly after seeing some of the videos and stuff that I know have gone up? Let me know who is your favourite out of the EZAs, and what do you think about in Super Saiyan 3 Bardock? Is his EZA good or not? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.